What's up, y'all? This is Brave, and I'm back with another review of Love and Marriage Huntsville. This is season 10, episode 4. And y'all, I gotta touch on a few things from the last episode because I was really sick, and I just cannot get it together to do that review. Baby, I gotta talk about a few things, okay? First of all, Trish, Ken, and Marquez. Y'all, when we came back, we saw that their son had come downstairs, right? And he got to witness his dad and not even stepdad, mama boyfriend out here fighting. And Ken wants to say them kids ain't traumatized. You think those kids are not traumatized? My question is, where's the daughter? Is she upstairs with headphones on so that she ain't got to hear all this arguing and shit downstairs? Like, y'all, I really feel bad for Trish's kids when it comes to that whole situation, okay? But y'all, we gonna talk about them a little bit later because they get on my everlasting nerves. I cannot stand Trish or Ken. But we also gotta talk about Kimmy, Jalen, Monster, and Maurice, okay? Because on the previous episode, we had to learn that Maurice was not a good stepfather, okay? He entered Jalen's life when that boy was a teenager, okay? And Jalen has now made it to full-grown adult. And he's finally able to say, like, hey, yo, I did not look at you like a father figure. You was just that nigga that was fucking on my mama. That's what he really want to say. I feel like he just want to say, you was just my mama boyfriend and then turned husband. Like, that's it. You did not try to really have a relationship with me. Let's be honest, y'all. Maurice tolerated Jalen just enough. So that way, once he got Kimmy, it was like, yeah, you see, I'm great for you. I'm great for your son. Because that's what niggas do. These niggas don't give a fuck about your kids. Okay? There are so many men who are only interested in the mother. Okay? They're not interested in them fucking kids. And it's not the kid's fault at all. But I need for men to realize that when you are dating a woman who has children, when we say that they are a package deal, that means the same way that you have so much love for her, you need to have love for her fucking child. Okay? Like, I just don't understand how Kimmy, she knew all this shit, y'all. She knew all of this shit and still married Maurice. Girl, you knew that this man treated your child differently? And you still married him? It makes no sense, y'all. Because keep in mind, they did not get married until what? 6-7 years later after dating? And for what we learned on this episode, Maurice came into their life when Jalen was 13 years old. When he was 13 years old, Monster did not come to live with them for real. And I feel like Jalen was grown at that point. So, you mean to tell me you've been living with this boy all this time and he has made it to adulthood and everybody can clearly see the divide in how you treat these your two kids? We all know that he was going to treat Monster better because that's his biological son. But for Kimmy to get on his fucking TV screen and say, yeah, because we would have conversations and it'll be like, oh yeah, you're really hard on Jalen. Wait until your son gets here. Wait a minute, girl. You mean to tell me that you had conversations with that man and you knew before his son even got here that he was going to treat your son very differently? Kimmy, what the fuck was you doing? Besides, I don't care how good the dick was. Kimmy, you should have put Jalen first. Y'all, and because of the type of person that Jalen is, y'all, Jalen gives me very quiet, okay? He seems like he's very calm, very quiet. Nothing about Jalen gives me that he was like a real like messed up kid. I feel like, honestly, he had to tolerate Maurice because at that point, if you were walking into my mom's life and I'm 13 years old, I've seen my mama struggle. I've seen my mom, not always have it all. But my mom, I see her happy now. She's happy, so you know what? I'm going to tolerate you as a man. But Maurice, it was your responsibility to build a bond with that boy. It was your responsibility. And for you to sit up in here talking about well, it worked out, didn't it? It worked out, didn't it? Nigga, Jalen is a great person because of his mother. It ain't got shit to do with you. Kimmy did a great job raising her son because for what it seems like, nigga, you was not available to help. That's what it looked like to me. Kimmy did a great job with her son. And what's crazy to me, y'all, is that Jalen don't even seem like he was like the kid that was wilding out the way Maurice is trying to make it seem. Like, are we trying to get the stories twisted? Because for what we've heard, we ain't never heard nothing negative about Jalen. Okay? However, your son, little monster, wasn't he like smoking with some boys when he was like 9th grade or something like that? Wasn't that your son? But you want to sit up here and say that you had to go so hard on Jalen for years. For what? Like, I'm sorry, y'all. I just cannot take Maurice, okay? And I do love the fact that we do have Marceau understanding that what Jalen is saying is true. Maurice, that's the type of person that you are. You take no accountability. And what's crazy to me is that you can tell it's getting under Maurice's skin that Marceau is the one that's looked at like the father figure. Okay, it's pissing him off. But he trying to hold it together at that table. Because at one point, Marceau is telling him, you treated Jalen like the stepchild. Y'all, he ain't lying. He not lying at all. But my whole thing is, I feel like all y'all sitting at this goddamn table should have spoke up years ago. We should have had this conversation when Jalen was still living there. Jalen ain't lived in the house with them for years. Like, what are we talking about? Y'all, and then for Kimmy to get in that goddamn confessional talking about Maurice don't listen, but he respects his brother, so he'll listen to him. Kimmy, you're married to this man. Do you hear how crazy you sound right now? I don't understand it. I don't understand. But y'all, we're going to go ahead and move on because then we get to Ken and Trish. Y'all, she is celebrating her birthday. So she decides that she's going to do like this photo shoot, right? Baby, Ken all up in the pictures, okay? All up in them. According to her, she's turning 38. Okay. I'm not even going to say what I'm thinking. Y'all know what I'm talking about. I don't even have to say it. Because I thought that she was as old as Letitia. Because Letitia got to be like in her 40s at this point. That's the age that Trisha is giving. But whatever. Y'all, they still talking about Marquez. Why are we still talking about him? He's not even relevant right now. What else do y'all have going on besides Marquez at this point? Oh, right, nothing. Because that man has been y'all's storyline this whole time. What else do y'all have going on? Child, whatever. Moving on. We see Marceau, Maurice, and Jalen. They sit down and meet up. Y'all, Jalen is working on this house, right? I guess it's going to be like an investment property for him, right? Y'all, every time that Marceau talks to that man, he says, oh, hey, how's the property going? How are things going? Because he's actually interested in what Jalen has going on. Marceau ain't asked that man nothing. Nothing. But he want to ask him about a goddamn family business. Maurice, get the fuck up out my face with this. Okay? So then we learned that Maurice ain't even been over to the house. Because he's over trying to say, oh, I think I should be invited. No, take fucking initiative. Okay? Be like, oh my gosh, you working on a house? Can I come by and see it sometimes? Like, what's wrong with you doing that, Maurice? Because, right, you don't give a damn about Jalen and what he got going on. You don't. So then Maurice, he's like, Jalen doesn't want any opinions about it. Still, you should support him. Like, y'all, I don't understand what Kimmy sees in Maurice. I don't get it. So Marceau, he peeps that Maurice has a tone, okay? Maurice has some type of tone to his voice. And it's like, nigga, what the fuck the problem is, okay? So, again, we want to talk about this goddamn family business. We've yet to figure out what that business is, y'all. We don't know what they're trying to do. But Jalen is like, listen, I already know it's going to be a dictatorship. And there's a hierarchy. It goes Maurice, Kimmy, Monster, and Jalen. Baby, you're not about to put me in that fucking situation, okay? He wants no parts of it. Like, it is very clear watching this scene that Marceau, he completely understands Jalen and how he feels. and how there is absolutely a double standard when it comes to how Jalen is treated and how Monster is treated. Okay? So, Maurice, he does a bullshit apology, okay? Straight up bullshit. And for me, I feel like, baby, it's too late. It is too late at this point. Y'all, we learned that Jalen, he has taken a job in Colorado, and it starts next month. I think it's great for him to get the hell out of Huntsville, away from them goddamn people, okay? So, we learned that, he is a little disappointed because the pay is less than what, he wanted it to be. Here comes Debbie Downer. Well, it's a new field and you're just now starting out. I'm sorry. What the fuck does that have to do with him being disappointed? Like, again, you're not supporting him. You're not even trying to be understanding. Then when Jalen said, well, I've been having to get a pay cut for the past 3 years. Y'all, where Jalen been working at for the past 3 years? Was he working at Black? Is that where the pay cut was at? Yeah, get away from the Scots. Get away from the Scots, Jalen. But let's go ahead and move on. Y'all, we see Nell. She's at work. Trisha pops up. Y'all, Trisha is a fucking weirdo. Let me tell you why I feel that way. Because why did she get up in that goddamn daycare saying, oh my gosh, yeah, this is what I need. I just love kids. This is what I need to be working on. And Nell is like, wait, you want a child care center? She's like, no, like, we need a space for our gym. Bitch, are you okay? What does a child care center and you saying that you like kids have to do with you having a gym? Y'all, that girl's weird. I'm sorry, okay? So they basically talk about the dinner from the last episode where Nell feels like the Scott girlies are not trying to be transparent, okay? And I agree. Especially when it comes to this whole Martell video that he put out. I understand where Nell is coming from. Okay? And she specifically feels the way about Tisha. Okay? Now, here's my thing, though. Why would they want to have this conversation about that? Okay? Be for real. No wife wants to sit up there and have a conversation about how my husband could have potentially cheated on me. Nobody wants to talk about that. But hey, that's how the Scots operate. Moving on, y'all. We see Martell. He's talking to his mama. And they talk about Ariana moving into this property. I don't care about that girl moving in. I really don't. Okay? Marlene over here asking if he going to marry her. And he's like, yeah, potentially. Because she's a good girl. I hate that man keeps saying that she's a good girl. That is weird. Am I the only one who feels that way? That it's very strange that he be like, yeah, because, she's such a good girl. Like, that's some weird shit. Like, where are you going with that comment? Nonetheless, Marlene, she misses the original family. And I said, do you? Do you actually miss the original family? That includes Melody? Because weren't you the same person who said Mel was lazy? Like, girl, what are you talking about? Then for her to say she cried because they got a divorce? Somebody lying. Somebody lying around here. Because you never liked Melody. So I'm not understanding how you was sitting over there shedding tears. What are we talking about? So then they go on to talk about the whole Marceau situation. And Martell feels like he had to do what he did online because his back was against the wall. Sir, whatever. Moving on, y'all. It's Trish's birthday. The Scots are trying to figure out why is Ken in all the photos. Y'all, we saw more of Ken in the photo than we saw Trish. And, of course, the Scots feel like they need to have a conversation with Chris because of this whole NDA conversation. Can we be honest? That rumor about the whole NDA situation has been floating around for years at this point. I feel like Chris was really just repeating something that the internet has been saying for a long time. Okay? Y'all, why is Jalen here? And why is Lance at this birthday party? Both of them could have stayed home. They don't know Trish like that. And everybody's over here congratulating Lance on the baby. And I'm just like, okay, I guess. Where is Destiny at? Destiny, are you still doing some TikTok things? Why are you not at this party? And also, Ken walks in. And, oh my God, Trish outfit, I didn't like it. But kid, why are you wearing the same shirt that's on the posters? You couldn't find no other Western shirt to wear? Okay. Now, y'all, at this point, Tisha done had some goddamn drinks. Okay? Tisha has been drinking because at this point, she starts to question Trisha on why is Ken all up in the photos. And Trisha's like, because that's my man. That's my chocolate man. And then Tisha goes on to ask her, like, yeah, so what's going on with that situation with Ken? Because I feel like you one foot out the door. I said, okay, Tisha, go ahead and speak what you really think, okay? Because you see that Trisha ain't trying to marry that man. But you got Kimmy and Nell over here arguing for Trisha like, oh, yeah, she's going to marry him. That girl ain't never said that, okay? Over with the guys. They're talking about Marquez again. And Maurice, he ends up telling Ken, like, listen, if we look at the paperwork and all the things all added up together, you are the bad guy. Because they are still married. Y'all already know. Ken don't want to hear that shit, okay? Marceau is like, listen, if something were to happen to Trish right now, they are not calling you. They are going to go find Marquez and go call his ass, okay? Not you, Ken. Oh, Ken really don't want to hear that. Because at this point, he feels like the Scotts are the last two who need to be speaking on anybody's situation and how they're always repeating themselves. Nah, nigga. I think that they're looking at your situation for what it is, and you don't like that shit. Okay? Now, back over there with the ladies, Nell is saying how the Scotts aren't transparent, but they want to talk about her family and what her son Lance got going on and the grandbaby and all of that, and she kind of feel like that's not fair. Baby, here go Tisha. Tisha was on one because when that lady said, y'all not transparent, you want to talk about my family? Why did Tisha say, and we will? Tisha, what is going on? So Kimmy is like, how are we not transparent? And now she brings up this whole Martell interview yet again. Now, Kimmy swears she didn't watch the whole thing. And Tisha says that she didn't watch it at all. Do y'all believe them? Do y'all believe that they did not watch any of that goddamn video? Because I think they're lying. I would not be surprised if they were together watching it. Okay? Nonetheless, okay, Kimmy says, do you think our husbands cheated on us and we didn't want to talk about it? And Nell is over there stumbling and fumbling over her words because she's trying to talk to them so nicely. Because at the end of the day, she still want to be their friend. She still wants to be in good with the Scotts, yet she know that they bullshitting her, okay? Now, Tisha is all in the background, right? Yelling about how, because that's some bullshit. Y'all, come get Letitia. Yo, Marceau, come get your wife now. So, here goes Tisha. She ends up telling Nell that she wasn't transparent about her infidelity. First of all, girl, let's be honest. We do not give a fuck about Fletcher cheating on Nell 20 years ago. Baby, I do not care, okay? Unless that's something that happened within the last 5 years, I don't give a shit about that. Hell, even if it happened 5 years ago, I still don't give a damn, okay? Now, Kimmy, she feels like a friendship can't be built if they all don't trust each other, right? Y'all, why did Trish pipe up talking about I'm an open book? Girl, sit this one out. Trisha, sit this one out. Baby, Tisha is in her confessional like, Trish, I don't know about all of that, girl. I don't know, because you seem to have some stuff going on. Okay? And listen, I'm with Tisha on that. So, Tisha feels like there's a lot of back and forth or whatever when it comes to, what's her name? Trisha. And she's like, no, this is a whole new book. Girl, Marquez is on your mind 24/7. What are you talking about, okay? You and kids' mind. Moving on, we go over to the guys. Marceau then wants to talk to Chris about this whole NDA comment. Of course, the Scotts are denying it because they're like, no, we've never had anybody sign NDAs. And y'all, here come Ken. Did y'all hear that man say, I would rather be dating a married woman than deal with that. Y'all, that nigga don't hear himself when he speak. You would rather be dating a married woman? Nigga, you like being the side nigga. Like, you are the problem. You are the NDA. Like, what the fuck? Y'all, Ken is wild. Ken is wild to me. Because I'm like, you're an idiot. Okay? So, after that, Marceau, he comes at Chris about this whole situation with the NDA and Martell. And Chris is like, listen, you got the story all wrong. Chris tells him that, listen, people say NDAs and all of that, that's lawyer talk. Maybe that's a Maurice thing, because y'all know he's supposed to be a lawyer. I said, well, you know what, Chris? I like the way you cleaned that up. I like the way you did that, okay? Now, back with the ladies. Y'all, they still talking about transparency. And here goes the whole NDA conversation. It comes up. So now Tisha, she want to go ask Chris about it, baby. And y'all, she actually got up there, walked all the way up in Chris' face. And Nell is like, girl, you better back the fuck up off my man, okay? You're not about to be all up in Chris' face like this, right? And here's the thing. Tisha is drunk, okay? Tisha is damn sure drunk at this point, okay? Because at one point she tells Chris, come stand right here, front and center, right here. And he told her, I ain't got to report to Letitia. I said, okay. I like the way you playing it, Chris. I like the way you playing it. So in the confessional, Marceau says that, Tisha has a habit of walking up in another man's face. And I'm just like, you don't see that as a problem? Why does Tisha feel so comfortable that she can walk in front of another woman's husband and do all that yelling and shit? She don't even do that shit with Marceau. Y'all, when have we ever seen Tisha walk up on Marceau when she got to question him for some shit the way she just walked up on Chris? Never. So I'm like, Tisha, that's a problem. Why are you walking up on Chris like that when you don't even do that to Marceau, sis? What's going on? So she over here asking about the NDAs, and Chris is like, yeah, we already talked about that. So y'all, she's sitting there looking stupid because her husband got to pull her to the side saying, yeah, babe, we already talked about it. I'm like, what the fuck? Y'all, in her confessional, we see Nell, right? Nell is over it. She said she fed up with Tisha at this point, baby. And I'm like, okay, cool. And we gonna roll with a storyline of Nell versus Tisha? I'm with it, okay? But y'all, that was the episode. Let me know what y'all thought about it. Go ahead and like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. And I will talk to y'all in my next review. Bye, guys.